we have a very special speaker from BMW, Pallavi Singh, joining us today. Uh, Pallavi has had an incredible experience working with a lot of auto players and a lot of auto brands. And today she will share her insights with us on how digital and e-commerce is going to lead the way for auto. So welcome, Pallavi. Great to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, can you hear me well?
Yes, maybe a little louder will be better.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, that's
okay.
Good.
Wonderful.
Thank
so
you.
I think thanks, for the introduction, and it's wonderful. I think it's in this whole entire lockdown, this is my first webinar in some ways, talking, not listening, but it's wonderful. For some of the panel discussions, and Ashish, as always, is very inspiring from his storytelling perspective. So glad to be here. I think we've learned a lot during this COVID time. The times have been tough. And I know these times are unprecedented, and unprecedented times need extraordinary measures. Whether it's a high-end product or it's an entry-level product, marketers are challenged in a lot of ways. But I guess every crisis is a huge opportunity, and this opportunity has taken a lot of, I would say, a lot of traditional categories like automotive in some ways, where everything is brick and mortar and everything is dependent upon the dealer. And dealer, of course, is our first customer, most important experiential touch point from where the product is delivered. But I guess post-PCR is a new world. And I think pre-PCR as well was a world which was emerging. A lot of people were accepting and some people weren't, but now there's no choice. So the only choice we have now is to learn, unlearn, adapt, and move on. So with that, I would tell Shiny to put up the slides, and I'll talk about that. Yeah, so what I was supposed to talk about digital commerce, and I said, I think digital commerce starts from digital transformation, and transformation is a big word. It does not mean just in the space of digital. It means in a lot of facets when it comes to the world of customer experience and marketing. I think marketing has evolved over a period of time. Past 10 years, what marketing was and what marketing is doing today is about really, selling products, engaging with consumers, giving them a great customer experience. So there are 6 main key points I'm going to talk about. I think it all starts with people. And when it starts with people, right skill is very, very important. And I think Ashish also touched upon that, is that during this time, what are we learning new? How are we implementing that? And you can start with smaller things, but digital transformation is all about playing with data, right? Data is king and data is a gold mine. So right skill in the teams, right skill I've learned a lot during this pre-COVID, post-COVID time period, which is going to come, but during the COVID time period, to learn about how do we interact during the customer journey. So different type of customer journeys have come during this time, and that, of course, leads to digital commerce. And MarTech, and I think a lot of people today are talking about marketing technology. This is something a lot of brands have been doing it for a long time. If you look at hotel brands, or if you look at uber luxury brands like a Chanel or a Fendi or a Louis Vuitton, they've been very personal in talking to consumers. Unlike an auto brand where a dependency is a lot dependent on different verticals and touch points. I guess MarTech is in a way, of course, a part of what programmatic can do today for us as well. So platforms where technology can talk to consumers in a more personalized way, and talking to what customer really need. Please share what customer wants. I think it's going to be really, really important. So that's one piece I want to talk about. A user-friendly platform is critical. We tend to pick up platforms because they look cool, but I think the point is what the platform can do with the data set we have and how that data set can translate into commerce is very, very critical. So integration of technologies leading to better customer experience is key. And I think the 4th point is simplifying customer journey. We tend to make such a massive charts when it comes to customer journeys, but customers just looking at what she or he wants when it's in the digital ecosystem. And I think that's another very important point to talk about, simplifying the customer journeys. I think for a fifth, which is very close to my heart, is high quality data. Often as marketers, we go into this whole fancy world of creating beautiful content. What can that content do for us? But this continuous review of content leading to automation and then leading to commerce, which is ultimately selling your product, I think is very, very, very important. And the sixth important thing, ultimately the fundamental of marketing is about communication and packaging on the digital platforms. That's going to be still integral to the whole ecosystem of digital commerce. How are we displaying that information which is going out through campaigns? And the campaign has to be relevant, so the context to the campaign has to be key. So I think for me, and what I wanted to talk about is these key 6 elements, which are very, very important going forward, were relevant before, but I think more than ever is relevant now from a digital transformation to digital commerce. And I'm going to show you one example of what we did. COVID happened on 20th of March, and 2nd April was when we went into looking at our website traffic was going up. There were still people who were interested in knowing about BMW, and we launched something called a BMW contactless experience. The idea was not to sell. The idea was to be relevant with consumers. If they're interested, we are here to serve you. And I think that's very important. Customer is king. We're here to serve the customer is a very important thing, apart from doing, of course, a lot of other content, flattening the curve. All of that is important. But by the end of the day, being relevant in consumers' life is also very important when customers looking at and is still discovering you in the face of digital transformation and commerce. So I'm going to go on the next slide and just share with you one of the pieces of content we did. It was a 90-second content piece, a long format, but I mean, ultimately data proves itself, and numbers is what proves what it can deliver for the end user and for the organization. There were a lot of course, from a completed views point of view, I don't want to talk about, there were 6.7 million completed views. We got over 1,800 people who were interested just to talk about BMW with us. And if we can play that video in the second slide, it'll just give people context.
You can embrace joy from the comfort of your home. Simply visit bmw.in, select your BMW, customize it to your liking, and proceed. You'll now be redirected to the BMW online shop. After logging in, select a dealership based on your location. The dealership you choose will help you with all your queries related to product and finance. Now all you need to do is click Buy Online, complete the formalities, and you're all set for joy. Rest assured, as you wait for your BMW, we make sure it goes through a thorough sanitation process. Only then does it make its way to you. On delivery, all documents are handed over in a sanitized envelope. At BMW, we are committed to bring you joy no matter where you are. We hope to see you behind the wheel soon. BMW contactless experience.
So I think, I mean, it didn't really do justice here because there was just a lot of lag, but the whole idea was to launch it under, the service and the sales and used car together from a digital commerce point of view. And I think post-COVID reality is going to be contactless experience for a long time. And the point is to transform faster, right? We need to really be agile, and I think I really love what Ashish spoke about. It is imperative that we learn new skills, and I mean within our teams, we've kind of learned in our own way. How do we deploy first-party data, third-party data, and how do we look at whatever data we are collecting through DMPs? How do we constantly review what customers really want? And I think digital commerce is all to do with ensuring what your customer needs and still having a bit of a human interface through these platforms. That definitely helps. It's a long way to go, especially with a sector which is so dependent on brick and mortar. But I think there's no way forward if you don't think in that journey. And a lot of brands have launched it, if you see across automotive. But I really, really feel that e-commerce as a space is going to explode when it comes to automotive as well. But the most important thing is still going to be understanding how technology is playing a very critical role, looking at data touch points, serving the consumer the right ad at the right time, and fulfilling that need from a service point of view, especially when it comes to high-end products. So if with that, I'll open if there are any questions, or Shiny, if you would like to ask me anything, more than happy to take it.
Yes, we have questions. There is one question from Priya, who says, for brands who are into premium retail services but have no e-commerce footprints, how should they plan their strategies?
So, I think when we talk about premium outlet services, I would really say, if you really want to expand the business, right, and if you want to sell more, you need to look at opportunities where you can do your business at scale. You will not see people walking into dealerships or walking into retail stores as often as you used to, and if we all want to see each other face to face, but that's not going to happen. So the idea is to innovate, and I think with e-commerce, because the platform and technologies are such, and if you have the right skill set, you can scale it up, right? You can start small and see how you can deploy it in and ultimately take it to a scale. But I would say that you have to pave that path. Without paving that path, the business will be smaller, it won't become scalable, and you won't be able to reach more people. It's user segmentation and reach, which I think digital commerce can really bring for businesses.
Makes sense. So we have another question by Vikram Singh, who says, what are the consumer behavior changes that we can expect in the luxury automobile category post the COVID? I think you've answered some bits of it, but...
Yeah. It's a very, it's a transformational journey we're all having. And I think people are into different phases at this point. I would say post-COVID, next 2-3 months are very crucial to see how consumers behave. It's early to say what impact it will have, but when you look at history, luxury is one segment which does take a hit. But there are people who say there's one life. I want to live that one life. There are those people who are saying that, there's, I want to have that one a road trip maybe with my family. I've been locked down in such a long time, and if you see cars like a home, right? And going forward, you would still want to safe driving is going to become very important because it's all to do with hygiene. So car sales definitely are going to see a surge. How fast it sees it, that's the question still to answer. I think next 2 months will define that. But cars like a home, right? So we will see people coming in and experiencing that if it's done in a right way from a brand perspective. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, there is a follow-up on that, and we have a question from Shekhar Mohan, who says, you moved really fast from a brick and mortar environment to a online environment. Is this something that was taken up at BMW India, or is there a global precedent to this?
See, BMW is a very progressive brand, and we're all about innovation and technology and always looking future forward. So we had an online commerce platform globally, of course, but I think we were the first ones to actually latch on to start a campaign which was BMW Contactless Experience, and we took that to a sales, service, and used car, because this all three service is very close to my heart, honestly, because we're in a business of serving our customers. We're in a business of ensuring that they feel good about owning a BMW, because it's joy when you own a BMW. When you sit in your car and you drive it, it's a different sense of joy. It's a different any car for that matter you drive, you feel good, right? It's your space. So it was an initiative we started, of course, with launching it at the right time, because context to content to commerce. I think these 3 C's are very important. It was the right time and we had the right content, which led to better commerce, if I did answer your question.
So we have one more question from someone who's a big fan of BMW, Udipta Kashyap, who says that I'm a big fan of BMW Short Movies. Are there any new ones coming up anytime soon?
Short movies. BMW we do a lot of movies. I don't know which one are you talking about, but I'm sure that we will try and surprise you and do some exciting content going forward. Business is tough, you know, and I think any content we do has to lead to commerce. It has to give great customer experience. But we're all about joy and driving. So anything we do is going to lead to bringing a smile on your face for sure. So we'll ensure that we live up to your expectations.
There is one more question. If we have time, it says, would automotive brands be willing to allow local dealerships to launch their own online stores, or will it see it as a conflict?
You know, I think every brand has its own strategy and every brand has its own roadmap, if I can say so. Especially when you look at technology infrastructure and platforms, they are expensive, right? And especially for a dealer or a small format, depending upon the business, if it's mass brand or a luxury brand, you know, every brand also has a philosophy, right? And there is a brand persona. It has to still reflect that. But these technologies are expensive. Primarily, if done centrally, makes sense because you're doing central deployment of platforms and commerce and technologies and consumer journeys. So I would still say a central piece is much better, and then you deploy it locally and do hyper-local with better languages. That can cascade much faster, even from a point of, you know, by the end of the return on investment. For a dealer, it's a huge investment to do something like that. But the future, nobody knows, so I can't really say. But present is this.
Sounds good. Do you have time to take one more question?
Sure, I'll take last question.
So, okay, last question. Do you see a lot of merit in DCO, that is dynamic creative optimization, and any use cases that you would like to share?
You know, I think dynamic content programmatic deployment is the future. Yeah. If we do not, and I don't really like to call ourselves as marketers anymore because we are truly in the business of actually doing business development and selling now and have been for a long time because we have data now and data proves that what each content can deliver. Every content has to be dynamic, and I think all the, you know, the platforms like DSP and bidding, real-time bidding and DMPs, these are things which are very critical to ensure that every creative we create are relevant for these platforms and they're dynamic so they can change on the go. So anything which is happening real time, which shows us real results, and they are KPI linked, will definitely help organizations for long run. And next few years are going to be tough for every company, right? So anything which has a lever to impact business and most importantly, impact consumer behavior and is here to serve the customer has to be dynamic overall, not just for content.
So much for spending your time with us. I think luxury segment and generally all businesses can take away a lot from this. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys, and be safe, and let's be positive. I'm sure we'll all pass through this as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So thanks, Pallavi, and thank you to our wonderful audience for making this a super engaging session.